It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Damilola Banire. How are you? Good to have you on the show. I missed you. It's been a while. I've seen you.
I'm my Lagos sister. I'm sitting perpendicular opposite to each other.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very great. It's been a busy week. Very recently, I said sometime ago in 2019, I started interior business. I didn't take my life very seriously. So until last year, and people who knew I did it kept calling and the jobs kept coming. I said, okay, fine. So now I'm in site. I'm working on a store. Yeah. I'm working on a store where I'm doing general modification of the place, and I'm sure that I'm going to wow. You people will be proud of me at the end of the day.
We're already proud of you.
Yeah, well done.
So I know that this time is not my fine girl era. I always have that switch. And sometimes I ask myself, am I sure that I'm not an Obanje? Because one moment you're very pretty, and the next moment you're looking like
to me.
We'll find our hierarchy in this. So it's been really good trying new things or doing new things from the talk that you're, but the talk never ends because you keep talking to artisans, you keep explaining, and it's like people should not kill me. I didn't kill my mother. But it's been good.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. I want to do public announcement.
Okay, what's happening to you?
Yeah, everybody that sells glasses, you can see Mariah's pretty face. You see these glasses that Mariah is wearing? That is Mariah's perfect glasses. However, the glasses is on its way back to its manufacturers. It is on its way back. So we are appealing to all manufacturers and sellers of glasses in Lagos and in Nigeria entirely. Please, if you have anything that looks like this, just send it to TVC Communications address, because I'm looking at your face and it looks so beautiful. And I have seen you wear other glasses that I realized.
Yes. Now.
I managed it.
I have glued it. I told to everybody quickly, I'm looking for this. They'll say something is not
but you are not even announced to your fans. So now that I've announced, they will help you say it. Also, I so love Dami's vibe that I told Dami that Dami is going to be Rep 360 brand ambassador. Guess what she replied me with? She said, somebody told me that she's going to do that. You are going to get a real estate opportunity. As in, like, I'm telling you, it just felt so divine. So, public announcement. Can you see our new brand ambassador? Yeah, we're going to do ceremonial signing sometime soon. But I like my energy, and really, I feel like we'll do great things together.
I love it. I love it. You know,
that's basically all my banter.
So we're going to not stop your banter. How you doing? I wanted to be in agreement with what you're saying, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm fine. So people have been asking me, you say you're an actor. You're an actor. We have not seen your work.
You are everywhere now.
We have not seen your work.
On Prime.
Thank you. Are you not on Prime? So hold on. Let me read it. So Faith and Fortune is a movie series that I participated in. I played the role of Madam Rose. Is currently showing on Showcase, Africa Magic Showcase right now. I think it's Thursdays or Saturdays, 9 p.m. I'm not so sure. Then Mama Ijiro, I am the Mama Ijiro, is currently showing on Africa Magic Showcase, as well as my YouTube channel. Because, you know, we had a deal, and then I can put it on my YouTube channel as well. Then Kewe's Bride is on Showmax. I played Ngozi.
This is everywhere you go.
I played Ngozi there. Please go and watch and give me your feedback. Then we have Grind. That one is on Amazon Prime.
Yes. You've been waiting for that one.
Since you are looking for where I am everywhere right now. I'm an actor, and I need more scripts. Directors, please see me. I am good. Go and watch. And
they can
judge. And bring the script. I am ready to go on set.
That's great.
It's good. And also in connection with what you just said, you see, I think it was Tokwe that told me many years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, when you started going for this international conference. The first one you came into, Tokwe came back and said, well, Your View is a tribe. We need to really make it a tribe. And it didn't really make sense to me at the time. But I mean, thank God for growth, and I realized that we are really a tribe, and we can actually feed off each other's energy. I love what you just did, how engaging Damilola. I love how you're doing so many, you're versatile, you're doing business, you're doing acting, and there's so much stuff.
Chika is my model.
Yes,
Chika is your model.
A fashion brand.
Lima is a lawyer. We have like
multifaceted.
We need to sit down and make something out of this. You guys are amazing. I'm so glad that you're doing so much.
And we have the best, team lead.
I'm telling you.
How can you have another team lead? When your team lead is Mariah,
go on a break. Go on a short break. We'll continue with the show. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Love it.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation, though there are not much stories in the headline. The major headline, our reform initiatives have improved the Public Complaints Commission fortune, says Chief Commissioner Abubakar. A few other stories internally, and I'm not sure which stories the ladies took.
I took
let's take a few stories.
This one is public announcement to my fellow Nigerians that live in Ogun State, Edo State, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom. They say you should brace up because there will be heavy rainfall over the next 3 days, starting from today. Lagos State would experience light showers. Ondo, Ekiti, Imo, Abia would have light showers, but there will be heavy rainfall. They also said it will be very windy. So dry. If you don't need to be on the road, don't be on the road. That's just it. Because people will say they did not know that there might be hints of flash flood might happen as well. That they've had some states that have experienced flash floods, but just be aware that the roads might be slippery and there might be reduced visibility because of the heavy rainfall that NIMET has predicted. You are warned. Be careful.
So before warned, the one I have is the no plan to extend service year by the NYSC, says Education Minister. And the Education Minister, Tunji Alausa, has denied reports that he advocated for the extension of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC service year from 1 year to 2 years. He says, I didn't say NYSC should be extended for 2 years. Alausa said this while delivering the 28th convocation lecture at the Lagos State University, Lasu Ojo, and he particularly mentioned that the convocation lecture was titled Patriotism and Citizenship and National Ownership, the Imperative of Collective Responsibility for Nigeria's Future. His words, my proposal to NYSC was that it should look into the possibility of forming a teacher corps. It has been done in other parts of the world. Let's form a teacher corps which NYSC can anchor. Teacher corps will engage voluntarily in the optional way. Teachers to go serve in the rural communities for 2 years and pay them, even if they are being paid the NYSC service wages. It is not enough. So the minister explained that his suggestion was informed by the fact that the nation has many well-trained but unemployed national certificates of education NCE holders. And today he's saying that those teachers who are well-trained but have no job. So in rural areas, there are no teachers to teach mathematics, English, and science. He also restated the federal government's plan to launch a $10 million youth entrepreneurship venture capital grant for the youths in the universities. So he has clarified that
it's possible that good. Is it possible that a journalist heard the first time, didn't think it through, and just ran with it, and then put it on social media? See how powerful. So now he's good that he came to clarify. Let me take the major headline, or the only story in the front page. The Chief Commissioner of the Public Complaints Commission, that's Bashir Abubakar, has highlighted key reform initiatives put in place by the organization's new leadership that enhance its fortune and ensure improved efficiency in providing access to administrative justice to Nigerians. The Public Complaints Commission is part of the efforts to revitalize the Ombudsman and to ensure the institution to meet the expectations of Nigerians. I said we foster trust and harmony in the country through fair and impartial resolution of citizens' grievances against public and private organizations and the officials. So I think we talk about this on the show, where people have issues. Maybe you got fired wrongly, or some citizen duped you, and you're looking for someone to complain to. It's got to be that commission that is listening and ready to help and ensure that justice is served. So I'm happy that they're doing some kind of internal revamping to ensure that they meet the services of Nigerians. Which is a good thing.
So the Bayelsa State High Court has explained why 15 domestic staff of Dame Patience Jonathan, who allegedly stole over 500 million worth of jewelry, are still being held after over 4 years at the Nigerian Custodial Center, or KAKA, Bayelsa State. So the court's head, Media and Information, Julius L. Nyanayo, said the case being handled in High Court 1 by Chief Judge of Bayelsa State, Justice Matilda Ayemiye, suffered delays, they said, due to multiple defense lawyers who must cross-examine witnesses and several adjournments at the instance of the counsel. He also said the charge sheet includes allegation of armed robbery and attempted murder. He said the accused were involved not only in the break-in at the former First Lady's residence, but also included those who allegedly purchased stolen items, jewelry, and valuables. The suspects, they mentioned their names. I don't think I want to mention all the names. So, but the statement here says that the attention of the Bayelsa State High Court has been drawn to a media report entitled Ex-Nigerian First Lady Patience Jonathan holds 15 domestic workers in prison over missing jewelry by an online reporter. This was Thursday, April 3rd. So the Bayelsa State High Court says, as a responsible organization, they want to just set the record straight in the interest of justice and balance, reportage, like what you just mentioned. You just pick the headline and you run without getting the full details just for sensation. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, another story, moving on now to Punch. 11 PDP governors urge Supreme Court to halt Rivers emergency rule. A few other stories in Ajero mobilizes NLC members to invade LP offices nationwide. Zulum says military failing to repel insurgents, defense headquarters fires back. And 11 PDP governors urge Supreme Court to halt Rivers emergency rule. Okay, which story?
I have the one that says the court has slammed an Abuja school 100 million in damages over the death of a student. And the Federal Court, the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on Tuesday awarded the sum of 100 million in general damages against Louisville Girls Secondary School, Gwagwalada, for negligence of duty of care, which led to the death of a student. So Mr. Ifeanyi Ikpetuzum had sued the school for negligence that resulted in the death of his 9-year-old daughter, Kamzi. And in the suit, Kamzi, who was admitted as a boarding student in September 2017, became severely ill by October 2nd and died a few days later. And Justice Silvanus Orji, while delivering the judgment in the suit, brought before the courts after had awarded 100 million naira cost, ordered a 10% interest on the judgment sum from April 8th until further payment. He also awarded an additional 300,000 to the cost of the suit, and the justice pronounced the decision at the court, held by the evidences presented, and showed that the agents acted negligently by failing to attend promptly and adequately to Kamsi's medical needs. I pray that may her soul rest in peace. At least somebody is taking accountability for this.
So I have one story for the break. So Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State has said that military is failing to repel insurgents in Borno. The governor claimed that the state was losing grounds to terrorists, citing the recent attacks on military formations, killings and abductions of residents. The Minister of Information, however, responded to the governor, argued that the security agencies are working round the clock to bring the situation in parts of Borno under control. On March 24th, Boko Haram militants had launched attacks on 2 military formations in Borno State, targeting certain local governments. Some of the insurgents were killed during the attacks, while troops were dislodged from their bases. About 2 soldiers were feared dead, and others sustained injuries when the convoy, including the newly deployed Brigadier Commander of Operation Hadinkai, struck landmines along the Maiduguri Biu Road. So also, if you recall, in January, about 40 farmers were reportedly killed in Dumba community in Borno State, and many others we believe. So because of this, the governor said we seem to be losing ground to Boko Haram, and obviously the government needs to do so much more. Then the Minister of Information was saying the government is doing all they can do, and it's not all of Borno, it's certain parts of Borno, but they're working around the clock to control it. Let's go on a very short break now. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
my 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Yeah, that's all we can take. I can close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Music.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch.
Yes, I have a story here. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, has written union leaders to begin mobilizing their members in readiness to invade and take over the 36 offices and national secretariat of the Labour Party across the country. And he says he was an internal memo that he shared, which was made available on Tuesday. So he said Friday, they had a judgment on Friday. That's the Supreme Court, which had vacated the earlier judgment of the lower courts. And they said that this was a move that, talked about the 2024 invasion, where they said agreed unionists broke into LP headquarters and other offices, which the National Working Committee said was a deliberate act to steal their sensitive documents and money. But Ajero insisted that they could not fold their hands and watch Abure and his team defy Supreme Court's pronouncement. So he said, just as we warned him about a year ago, that Nigerian workers and genuine members of the Labour Party. So I'm confused right now. I'm trying to understand the relationship between the NLC and Labour Party. So I'm a bit confused in that. So it seems like they are now one and the same.
Yes.
I don't even understand. So, but they are saying that, let me just state what they have said. He said about a year ago that Nigerian workers and genuine members of the Labour Party will always collect what belongs to them, no matter how long a mischief lasts. By this communication, we urge every worker in Nigeria, all genuine members of the Labour Party and all lovers of democracy to be on standby to once again peacefully repossess all offices of the Labour Party nationwide. So I'm asking, how does this party issue concern Nigerian workers? Why are we joining the two issues? Shouldn't... well, let's leave it.
All right, so I want to take the Jackpot story. It's sort of like following up similarly with the conversation we had with yesterday. We had a doctor talking about how to do reverse jackpot or jackpada. But the coordinating minister for health and social welfare, Professor Mahmood Pate, said that in the past 5 years, Nigeria has not lost as per se they died, but they left us 16,000 medical doctors, and that there are several nurses and midwives who have also relocated as well. He said that many medical practitioners, there's an increasing number of Nigerians talented healthcare workers whose aspiration is to work in a foreign country. And he was delivering this, he said this while delivering a speech at the Association of Medical Council of Africa in Abuja. And the theme was integrated healthcare regulations and leadership within the leadership in building resilient healthcare system. They are aware of the problem. They understand that there's an issue, and they are working, because currently the doctor to citizen ratio in Nigeria is 3.9 per 10,000 in the country, very poor, and that the cost it takes Nigeria to train a doctor is about $21,000. So we need to bridge the gap. While I'm hearing all of this, I'm waiting for what will be done to bridge that gap, so that we don't have so many health workers still living in Nigeria at the rate with which they are living.
Daily Sun, thank you very much. Tokwe, federal government laments mass migration. I was going to take that story, but Tokwe took it. Tinubu Obasanjo will be a camp mourn business mogul Pascal Dozier, who passed away quite recently. Court bars Rivers Soul administrator from appointing local government boss. Mobile money transactions surged to $1.7 trillion. VP Shatima faults Nigeria's resource management. Alleged defamation, Natasha slams $5 billion suit against Nwaboyi. And pregnant woman, 5 others killed in Ebonyi renewed land dispute. Which story are we starting with?
The pregnant women that were killed. So a pregnant woman and 5 other persons have been killed in a renewed land dispute between the people of Ndukwe community, Amasiri, in Afikpo local government, and Okporojo in Oso, Eda local government of Ebonyi state. So houses and other properties worth millions of naira were destroyed in the renewed hostilities, because they've been having this from the time past. So the 2 neighboring communities have been at war, they said, for over decades, over land matters, with many lives lost, properties worth of billions of naira destroyed. They said the renewed hostilities had led to people from Eda local government taking a detour through Afikpo town for fear of being attacked on Amasiri Road. So Chairman Eda local government, Chima Ekumar Kama, was the one who confirmed the renewed hostilities. He said that security operatives have been deployed to restore normalcy, and he pointed out that he had visited the area to reassure the people of the government's commitment, towards ending the lingering disputes that they've been having. So he went ahead to commend Governor Francis Nwifuru for taking proactive steps by moving security agents to the area, and he says that he's assuring people that there will be normalcy and peace return to the area very soon. So he said he personally also visited the area and witnessed the level of destruction that was done. He says as we speak, there are enough security personnel in the area to foster reoccurrence, and it was just an unfortunate incident that a lot of people had lost their lives, including this pregnant woman who had 5.
Okay, let me take the Natasha story. So the suspended senator of Kogi State Central, Natasha Akpoti Odoahun, has filed a 5 billion naira defamation suit against Senator Onyekachi Nwaboyi for alleging that she had 6 children for different men. According to the suit, Akpoti Odoahun had described Onyewoyi's claim as false and deliberate attempt to destroy and tarnish her reputation. The suit was filed through her counsel, J. Umar SAN. She told the court that Nwaboyi, who represented Ebonyi North Central Senatorial District, had severely injured her reputation, caused her considerable distress and embarrassment to her credibility and public perception. According to her, he during a televised interview, was saying that he falsely, maliciously, and without any lawful justification referred to her as a gold digger, habitual liar, and habitual blackmailer. He also claimed that the defendant, further alleged that her husband married her under duress. I remember that interview. I hope this man is ready for.
Don't try yourself when it comes to Natasha, though. Senator Natasha will take you to court, and she has the time.
And when the man was just jabbing, this is like a jabbing. Do you realize that you have to drag you by the...
I don't even think it's. I think it's essential to the idea of free speech for you to be able to be held accountable if your free speech infringes on another person's rights. Absolutely. So I want to take the story of
I'm even happy she's taking to
it's very good because misinformation will spread. People will pick that.
Reposting it. So,
the story of what is happening in Rivers State has not been resolved. Appointing sole administrator doesn't seem to have solved the problem there, because this is now the second injunction they've gotten from a federal high court in Rivers State. This one is now about the local government. They are asking that the sole administrator does not have a right to now appoint people in charge of the local government because the local governments were duly elected. I don't think that sole administrator is a way that would properly resolve this issue. I think that there has to be
the issue you're looking at. There are different issues.
Even this local government, there is issue because the election, they said APC people did not like the election. PDP people say that is their election. They said that there is now a list of people that they feel the sole administrator wants to bring in who are pro-wike. They now went to court. So that there are many
sides to this. It was a political statement I made. So depends on which problem
I'm addressing. Okay. But for the people of Rivers, it would be important to have stability, peace, so that governance will truly happen there. And I don't think that they are feeling that impact yet. So conversation needs to be had.
That's actually more crucial. Okay, Vanguard, let's find a story of not taking lead poison. FG indicts monarchs, orders illegal miners out of Zamfara. NSA warns against ransom payments to terrorists and kidnappers. Tariff war, US slams Nigeria over imports ban on 25 items. Ndume Knox Tinubu alleges lopsided federal appointments. Cybercrime Act emergency rule. Journalists narrate ordeal in hands of policemen in rivers. And corruption, not federalism, Nigeria's problem. ACF Afenifere Ohani's the other tackle Vice President Shatima. Okay, which story are we talking about?
I have the NSA ones against ransom payments to terrorists, kidnappers, and others. And this is saying that the National Security Advisor, NSA Malam Nuhu Ribadu, yesterday warned against payment of ransom to terrorists, kidnappers, and other criminals. He gave the warning while receiving a fresh batch of over 60 rescued victims who had been in kidnappers' den for over a month following intense military pressure in Kaduna. The victims amongst whom was a deputy director in the civil service and the relative of Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, all hail from Zango, Kataf in southern Kaduna. Speaking shortly before handing over the rescued victims, comprising of 35 males and 29 females as well as children, to the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, Ribadu advised Nigerians, especially families of kidnapped victims, to stop paying kidnappers ransom. He said, let me urge our people, families, to stop giving ransom to these criminals. Please stop giving money to these people. The more money you give out, the more you compound the problem. And he said, we have never given any money to any of these people. Giving money to these evil people is counterproductive. The more money you give them, the more they request for more money. So if that's
going to be a tall order for people who are hurting, they just want to get their family members back. And they know that there's hope. If I drop this money, they will likely release, and you're telling them not to. It's difficult. That's not going to be hard. With it.
So I have the story about the tariff war that the US has slammed Nigeria over import ban on 25 items. It is not a new ban. This ban was in 2016 when the federal government banned 25 items from being imported into Nigeria from the US. The banned item include beef, items that look like beef, pork, poultry, fruit juice, Medicare, medicaments, and spirits. They also include pharmaceutical products and beverages. The US trade representative has taken to Twitter to explain the fact that this is a very unfair trade because it limits the access of the US citizens to be able to push their products everywhere. Similarly, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Jumoke Oduwole, has said that 14% reciprocal tariff imposed on Nigeria by President Trump has a potential adverse effect on Nigerian oil and gas exports. So the US obviously is reviewing every policy against them and taking a position of America first. So they now found this our previous tariff this is our previous ban on some products from America, and they are saying this is not fair, and that in return they're going to give us our own set of bans. So we obviously it's a good thing that we're having a conversation around it. They have examples of other people that they have trade with that is positive, but we should just be on the lookout because some of the things we're enjoying, it might have repercussions. When we have questions like this, there'll be repercussions. So those that are getting to export agricultural products to America, which a lot of Nigerians make money from, bear that in mind, might be facing stiffer. It will become.
But when they ban those things, it's helped our own. All the juice now we have juice makers in Nigeria. So there's no point in bringing Five Alive or those brands into the country. It was banned. So it was beneficial. So those things were done in 2016 for a reason. So you can't say because America now suddenly woke up and said.
And it will not be nice for us to reverse the ban just because they are putting pressure on us. I would like our government to stick to the ban and ensure that we are growing.
They're in America first, to Nigeria first. Period. Let's go on a short break. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 20 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
at this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I
all we
live
can
Nigeria,
take.
but I choose to
Ejek,
stay.
close the show, G, for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Thanks for staying with us. So there was a story that got my attention yesterday, and I wanted to bring the matter to Nigerians to let you hear. So there were 2 ladies that came in from the US yesterday, a few days ago, I think. No, it was actually a few days ago. And they arrived hoping to start a new life here in Nigeria. And the plan was for them to get an apartment in Nigeria. But unfortunately, when they arrived, the apartment, in fact, that's a whole different story. The landlord kind of turned on everything, so they needed a place to stay. So now these 2 ladies came with their cats, 2 big black cats.
Emphasis.
They had to now buy black cats. They paid for because unfortunately they couldn't put the cat in the cargo, so they had to put the chair on the flight from America to Nigeria. So you know that's paying for 2 people.
Has the passport too.
And they had to have a special permit and all that. So they came in, so they called their aunt that, okay, we're having some accommodation issues. Please, of course, after 13 or 12 hours, straight flight from the US. So they came over to their aunt's house, and their aunt just spoke to her husband. Her husband said, oh, sure, they can come. Not mentioning the cats. So this about 9 p.m. in the evening. They arrived at the house with the cats. Nobody even knew about the cats. They entered and everything, entered the room. Then because the cats were nicely packaged. The aunt knew about the package, about the cats. But because it was late in the evening, she was hoping that her husband would allow them to stay over. Of course, husband had cats. Not just cats, big black cats.
BBC.
And he did not allow them to stay in the house.
Jesus.
They didn't sleep in the house.
Jesus Christ.
He sent them out. He said he doesn't care, right? Just gonna stay in that house. So these 2 girls had to find somewhere else that night. And because in fact the aunt went to beg husband, pleaded, told the girl to go and beg husband. Husband said, it's a territory that this is the prayer, this is the territory that he cannot allow the witchcraft to come and sleep in his house. As if it's himself. That's why using Bible quotes to say that. It's as if I'm bringing the devil himself to come and stay in my house. Wonderful. This is a house where I pray. How can I have cats in my house? You know, and he really went on and on. It's a spiritual matter. I pray in this house. How can you? No. I can't do that. So those girls cried because they were frustrated and they had to leave.
13-hour flight.
So the family was now scrambling, of course. Now we're now trying to get to other family members. Those must be cats, everyone say they don't want cats. So the poor girls, it was really bad. Now, the question is, what did cats do to Nigerians? Why are we afraid of cats? YK has about 7 cats or so. Nima has cats, and nothing has done these people. But for some reason, some people believe that cats are demonic. So the question this morning, why are Nigerians afraid of cats? Please call us 020-163-52013, 090-241-63440. You can send us messages on X and also on YouTube. We're happy to hear your thoughts. What is the issue with cats?
It's demonic.
Yes.
So, we all have our... Let me start with this example. When I went to Doha, they said every Doha family has falcon. That's their animal. That's their pet. And they are falcons of millions of dollars. People spend millions of dollars to buy falcon. They have the biggest falcon hospital, specialized pet hospital for falcons in Doha. You'll be wondering,
why?
Falcons?
For what reason?
That's the same way the Yoruba people feel that abami. Cat is an abami. That means an animal that can, or something that has ability to morph, that can morph from one to another.
Change.
So change. And so the morphing ability that they feel a cat has makes the Yoruba, and it's something that I don't even know the origin of it, but I grew up hearing that cats morph, and so they can be possessed by human beings that go into animal form easily, and that dogs can sense when something like cats have been possessed. So that's why we might be more friendly, Yorubas might be more friendly towards dogs while they repel cats, especially anything that is pure black. The connotation is you are evil. Even goats, because when they want to do sacrifice, they say bring a goat that is pure black with no blemish.
You don't sacrifice.
In Yoruba movies are custom. So the idea that a cat is now black, then the way the cat looks into your eyes, we don't need to rationalize the reason for it. But if somebody has fears that they have rationalized, we can't convince them to change their mind on it, because we don't get it.
So these ladies were begging that these cats are well trained. They're going to stay in one room. You won't even know, because they won't even know they're there. And you can see that the cats are actually very well trained. They're not those ones that you see on the road. These ones are actually really big and they're well manicured and kept. Well kept cats. You want to hug them. And if you see where these girls are calling this baby like children, they were really, broken. That somebody could tell them that,
it's like, take your child outside. Let your child sleep outside.
You could see the girl crying that, you call my baby evil. Your baby, get the heck out of my house.
I think for me, it's just, I believe in a bit of mythological explanation.
I don't believe in what I just said, though. I just explained the perspective.
Which people believe, of course, that cats turn. But now, let's put it on the perspective of having pets. People have weird pets for different reasons. We've seen people keep snakes, as much as we'll say, snakes, reptiles, snakes. Of course. But I also think that it is a level of our exposure and what we are tuned to and what we do not want to accept. There's nothing mystically wrong with cats. People have them in numbers. Absolutely. In fact, I think there was a day online I saw one woman, American woman, I think from Australia or something. She had over 70-something cats, and she willed her properties to those cats. So maybe bringing it down here, looking at us being spiritually neck dock into
religiously,
but religion, of course, the spiritual aspect of every religion.
She's removing spiritual from it.
It's not spiritual.
You know, near religiously.
It's dogma.
Maybe so. I would want to use spiritual because my understanding is that yes, some religious people keep cats. Nima is quite religious. She keeps cats. So if we're saying let's now distinguish religion from spiritual, you can as well think that this particular cat, the way it looks at me, the way it stares, it has been used. And I know a bit, not so much, that even cats are very loyal. As pets, and they even ward off sicknesses because when you ask from traditionalists, they will tell you significance of each animal, and and even their negative side. I know that so much. Of course, my partner's father is a traditionalist, so I get to ask questions, and because it is connoted or attributed to super eagles that fly in the night, or maybe in general terms witches that fly in the night, and that they can always morph into. You understand? So I think that's where the spiritualism is coming from. But on the other hand, people think, and people who wear cats say they are very nice, but if you don't like
it can cut you.
It doesn't just hurt from my own perspective. It is when they are now exposed. Some people are well kept, like Morayo said, and they are not exposed.
I'll come to you, BC, in a second. Let me take Umar to come to my booth. Good morning, Umar. You're live.
Will be plenty on this matter.
Good morning, Umar. You're live. Hello, Umar.
In fact, I'm so glad that today you have a topic that regards animals and how we treat animals in Nigeria.
Thank you.
As an animal advocate, I think I've spoken to so many Nigerians about why they have this fear of cats. And of course, the reason they always bring up is always like funny. As someone who has grown up in a family that has always had animals, we've always had pets in our house, from cats to dogs to parrots, name them. And then it followed me down to myself. Now that I'm a family man with my children, it says a lot from the way people treat animals. It tells you the way they would treat their fellow human beings. Then if you look at the sanctity of life in Nigeria, it leaves so much to be desired. And it tells how we treat all these animals. Animals mean a lot to people. Animals are telepathic in nature. They can, when you see all these white people keeping animals and taking care of them to a certain extent, that will be wondering, how can you be taking care of animals like this? It says a lot about the people. So what I want to chip in today, this is a very, very interesting topic, and it's a very topical topic, because Nigerians need to understand that these animals are God-made, and they're not made to harm us. The way we treat them says a lot about us. If we can just continue to advocate to people and to tell them that we need to extend our love to animals and take care of them.
Thank you very much, Omar. Thank you very much, Omar.
Yes. So Psalm 24:1 says, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and all they that dwell therein." Everything on planet Earth was created by God for good and for however you want to label it, right? All are God's creation. We, the human beings, and the animals, and the plants are all God's creation. God did not create this one for evil and create this one for good. He created everything for good. But the problem I see is that in this part of the world, we are naturally very fearful. And it's unfortunate, I'm going to be specific now, that many of the fears actually come from the so-called Christians. No, not Nollywood. Leave Nollywood. So-called Christians who are supposed to have a better understanding of how God works and how the universe works. But there's always this fear of, also maybe because of the sort of prayers that we have been taught to pray to protect ourselves, we are very quick to demonizing anything that we do not understand. And that's where the problem is. So you do not understand a cat, the anatomy of a cat, why a cat is the way a cat is. Like, I remember the very first time I saw the eye of a cat in the middle of the night. It was during my NYSC. I could wear leather today, like I'm doing NYSC. You know, and I just came out of my balcony and I saw the cat's eye. I shouted. Then my friends came out and water. I said, I saw the cat's eye. I said, but that's how the eyes are. I've never seen it at night. So it was it was beautiful, but I was afraid because of all the things I've heard about, and that was actually a very black cat. Now, when I started studying animals, so all this one that I say you can easily possess a cat, there's no animal that cannot be used. Absolutely. There's no animal that cannot be possessed. They send rats come give person. They send bats come. They send cockroaches come. Yes. Yeah. You can use any. They use dolls. Those people who collect dolls, I'm usually very afraid for them. Who have a lot of doll babies in their houses. Effigies. Thank you. The spirits they enter them, they disturb you for house. So there's nothing an evil person cannot use. So why do we single out a particular animal and demonize that animal? We need to understand that animal. So let me give you some bit of understanding. I like how Dami has already started with her knowledge of some of the attributes that a cat has. Because a cat is more like, can be a channel. A cat is like in between worlds. So the cat, our animals are closer. They see the layers that we do not see. When we come here, we are blinded. So we don't see those layers, except of course you are very spiritual, you are clairvoyant and all that. You can see glimpses and glitches, right? Here and there. But many of us that are walking around, we're not seeing. We can be here now and there are some spirits behind and we don't know. We can't see. But someone who is very attuned to seeing things beyond the 5 senses can come and spot that maybe there's somebody just behind top way and we'll see it. Yes. Yeah. So cats see those things because they're like in between the worlds. And that's why many people who don't understand are usually afraid. No, wait now. They're usually afraid that because the cat is seeing what is not seen. But the way they are seeing, they're also very protective. If you study some people who have given testimonies of how their cats have saved their lives. Something was coming to kill them, cat collect the death. Or there's a poisonous food. Yes, and the cat will go and eat it to save, the person. They're actually very loyal animals. We need to take time to understand beyond ourselves. We need to take time to understand beyond our 5 senses. The world is changing right now. We cannot keep being in an ignorant state and assuming that is how it is from yesterday, today, and forever. It makes it look like we don't know what we are doing. We need to gradually begin to have an open mind. You are a Christian. You have the Holy Spirit, Abi. So you cannot tell the cat to go and sit down, cat will sit down. So why are you going to church and deceiving yourself? Thank you.
Aja is going to...
I have Adekunle been holding. Come on, Adekunle, you're live. Go ahead, please. Adekunle, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I have actually said a bit of what I intend to say this morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Doctor has actually said a bit of what I intend to say this morning. But then, back to the story you highlighted this morning. Personally, you won't sleep in my house if you are coming to my house with a pet, personally. So it depends on your view concerning some things. If you have gone through some certain things in life and they've attributed those things to some little things, because in Africa here we tend to perpetrate evil with animals, and that's why in Africa here we don't seem to be cool with this kind of thing. But animals, as the case may be, they are very loving, stuff that you want to live with. But then means then in hope. Man, I just want to say some things about animals because of the lovers of animals. But animals over here is not something you want to associate with, because most especially cats on the line. Cats can be cats, as much as we see videos of cats being friendly, they are the most deadliest things around you. Let me leave it at that. Thank you, lady.
Thank you very much, Adekunle. Interesting, the person that, the guy the man involved, I know the man has been in the country, France, and there were cats everywhere, especially, was it in Nice? There were so many cats everywhere. And I said, you slept in Nice? There were cats in the hotel we stayed in. There were cats in the windows, big, and they were walking and loitering everywhere. He said he had bad dreams. I said, I slept in the same place. I did not have bad dreams. Only you had bad dreams. I slept peacefully. Nothing happened to me. So my question is it that our map of the world totally informs every single day? Because I can two people stay in the same place. You are having bad dreams. The person I'm staying peacefully.
So I want to say that give grace to the people you assume are ignorant because you've not walked in their shoes.
Okay.
There are things that people have experienced that shaped the map of their world. That because you've not experienced it, you will count it as ignorance. The person who says they were pressing me in my dream, I'm like, Mommy, if they press you in your dream, press them back. Because I've never been pressed in my dream. I cannot understand. Or where somebody has gone through an experience where they say, you enter a place, if they prostrate for you, the person will die. And they prostrated for one person and the person died the next day. You will not stay, your reaction is different because you have a different experience. You've not walked in the shoes. So I'll start by saying, give grace to the people you perceive are ignorant because you have not experienced what they've experienced. You are speaking from your worldview and the experiences you've had. Until you know more, you will see more. People, we see calabash, they will put water and they will say that somebody will stand up and leave the house in America and say, I'm coming to Nigeria. They call the person from calabash. See, until you know and you've experienced it, you will not say it is true. Me now, I don't know.
Again?
I don't know it. I've not experienced it. For me, it's not true. For somebody else, it is. So we need to give grace to that ignorant person and not impose our beliefs and expect the person to be at our level because the person is different. You might think your own level is higher, but your level is lower as compared to the person's life experiences. You don't know the things of the spirit. You cannot understand. That's the person's worldview. So I feel like I hear you. My personal opinion is all animals are God's creation, and they are good. Even in the Bible, Peter was told, eat it. Eat it. I have made all things clean. So that's my belief. But somebody else can have a different belief and say, I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Allow the person not to stand it because you are giving grace for where that person is.
There's an angle I want to go because I think our first caller kind of took me there. You see, how we treat animals is sometimes how we treat ourselves.
I agree.
There is that thing of and I think we'll take that after the break on how to, because it's a reflection of who we are.
It builds empathy.
I agree.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll build on this a bit more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show, you for that. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing cats. Why do Nigerians or Africans in general have an issue with cats? And before the break, I was talking about the issue of empathy. The fact that when you see people love animals, are selfless, they care for. We see them in movies, you see them in different parts of the world where they are selfless and they care so much about another being, either it being human or not a human being, and see how we here respond to even ourselves, regardless of an animal. How you treat your houseboy is you comparing that to even your children, even people with the animals. It's probably going to be worse. So the point is, could we begin to review how we are as a people? Maybe this is not about the fear of cats. It's about how we choose to treat the next person. The fact that we're not empathetic, the fact that we don't care, it's about us, and we don't feel the need to give love and show care to others.
Yeah. So there's something we do in therapy. Maybe you're struggling with a very selfish person, or you are a selfish person, and you're looking at finding ways to be better. We always advise you to get a pet. It could be a cat, it could be a dog, it could be something that is vulnerable and helpless, that will not pay you. Yes, that will not pay you anything in return. And then you learn how to nurture that person, and that takes you away from being self-absorbed. It's a therapy that we give to people. But I also want to say something that I totally agree with Tope, that you cannot, judge another person's worldview. We all have our different maps of life, and we judge from where we see what we have experienced, what we have, accumulated over the years. Many of the things running our lives, in fact, from the age of 35, everything that is running your life is a set of habits. A set of habits. Default. It's on default. It's your subconscious that's actually running your life. So it's your programming. You have been programmed from birth, from childhood, from experiences, from everything that has happened, beliefs, your parents' beliefs, everything that has happened. So many a times we are running with a program that is not our own, originally our own. And in therapy and coaching, they now start asking you which beliefs are really yours. You now have to sit down. Which beliefs have I inherited? And that takes a moment of self-reflection. You are paying attention to your thoughts in the calm of your mind, and then you're not sifting, okay, this belief no be me get them originally. This one no be me get them originally. This one no be me get them. And then you start sifting and removing all those things. We in Africa, I like what you said, we have to reorient ourselves. We have demonized vultures.
Yeah.
Once you see vulture, we call it in my place Udene. Everybody's running.
We have
demonized owls. We have demonized many animals. Bats, uncle. Once you see a bat,
that one is
God forbid. Everybody is shaking. They have sent somebody. Yeah. In 2025, we need to sit down and ask ourselves, as a Christian, let me just dwell on that, because I want to believe that these people are Christians. I don't know. But as a Christian, you have the Holy Spirit with you. You walk with God. You're constantly praying and communicating with God. You are supposed to be above principalities and powers. Why are you so shaken of a small animal that you can look and say, okay, there's one spirit there. My friend, will you disappear? This place is not for you. And that's it. And the spirit leaves and goes. So the sort of Christianity that we're preaching is the sort that does not empower us, but keeps us in bondage. We're constantly afraid of what we do not understand. And that's not the sort of Christianity I want to give to my children or to any young person around me. That's on one hand. All the human beings that have been wicked to us, because human beings are wicked. We have had people who have dealt with us, showed us shege. Have we thrown them away? Have we casted them out? No. We find a way to work with them, because we understand that most of the time it's not even about the person, it's about the person's behavior. We find a way to separate it. But when it comes to cats, because you don't wear black for skin, where God give them, we demonize them. So we need to keep, and I understand that is your map of the world, is where you are. We extend grace to you, but brother or sister, try and be living there small. Please. So it's not a place to be.
Well, I just think that naturally or generally, a person who has not gone to somebody else's father's farm will claim that his father's farm is the largest.
It's the biggest.
And we see things differently, and we know things differently. Maybe, yes, some people from their family history, they could attestate to the fact that, oh, we've had this and this and that about cats, and thereby passing it on to their children and the next generation. So yes, sometimes inherited fear might just help you or guide you as regards to avoid some certain things. But now again, I think our selflessness would not even let us help each other. I mean, our selfishness would not even let us help each other. Talk more of allowing us to help animals. Now, I remember the story of the ark, Noah's ark, and all animals were in pairs. Yeah. If I think that if God didn't want procreation
of animals,
it would have been male and male, female and female, because it wasn't going to happen. But the fact that I always say something, I say, you see, in Nigeria, we have eaten all our Nat Geo wide. We cannot have it because even these cats that we are talking about, people eat them. I saw a video on Instagram which day, and the guy said, he has been catching cats, so that meat is now expensive. So any cat that's, and just in that video, one cat was walking by, and he said, that's my next target. And he was really serious about it, that it wasn't content. So yes, people even eat.
We have to wrap up, my
these
darling
animals. So sometimes, generally, it's just us. If we have seen some certain things, we will run into our shelves to say, okay, if this is not for you, do not castigate it is for. Just give an enabling environment.
So let me cast my mom, because my mom is on this table.
Sitting pretty.
Yes, she's
sitting my mom's sister was like that too.
Yeah, sitting pretty on this table. And I remember the rebel in me just never accepted that fear. And that's because I knew God for myself. We would go to vigil in Okebukum, CAC.
You got for yourself.
And we're coming back from the vigil. We walk all the way to a mode of extension, and we just came from heavy duty prayer, and one bird is flying. They said there was a day my mom was like, this bird has been following us. And I told Mommy, there is no bird after the prayer that we have prayed that can follow us. If that bird tries, the bird would die. I said, Mommy, you need to drop this fear. If the cockroach comes into the room, if that lizard is walking, that war gecko, that the power of God inside you, I say, he that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. Yeah. You need to be speaking that faith out and binding the fear, because we have inherited fears from the generations. People we don't know. The fear is in our DNA. The fear of animal is in our DNA. So we need a conscious effort to speak faith and speak life, so that we don't pass on that trauma to our children.
Let me put my husband on this table also, because some years ago also in our old house, birds will be passing. I'm trying to sleep. Brother is binding and casting. And I'm like, it's a freaking bird. It's an owl. It's trying to pass. He's pulling down. You are not letting us sleep. He's casting. And I'm like, bro, man, I'm trying to sleep. No, please. I'm trying to. The guy, he's always binding. And sometimes he'll go from the room to outside to everywhere and starts inside the whole house. I'm like, bro.
Now, do you know? Okay.
So I'm connecting to what you say. Is that fear? Yes. Is that the inherited fear that we constantly feel as if once a natural occurrence that should happen, a bird should fly at night, certain birds fly, but you as a human being, you now begin to think that they're chasing you, and they're not chasing anybody.
Do you know that the sounds those birds make calm a troubled mind? We use it in therapy. We collect the sounds the birds are making, the sounds the sea is making. We collect it, and it calms the mind. In meditation, it is used to calm. There's a way I'm feeling. I want to go to the park. I just want to hear the birds. My head calms down. We don't have this understanding. In fact, at some point, my house, there's always a part of the house where birds will come and poo. I always like that place because I see them as they are bringing fruitfulness to me. They're bringing blessings. They considered me okay for them to build a nest in my penthouse. And my penthouse balcony, they always build a nest there, and they always poo there. We clean it with joy. I sit there, I meditate, and I go. And nothing has happened.
But funny enough, if I'm on this bird pooing, some people believe mythologically that it is blessing. Yes. Just the way my mom feels anytime she sees a spider. She says that is the reason we don't have money. Kill the spider. Look for the spider.
Thank you. My mother-in-law has an issue with wall geckos. The poor guys, they're always killing them. When I was growing up, they don't kill wall geckos.
Once I see one, I know somebody's pregnant in the house.
Wall geckos eat the insects. I told my kids, I have to make them understand, because grandma keeps saying, kill it like a guy.
I don't.
They kill they eat up the insects. So they help you with the mosquitoes.
Even in the university, who don't get belly for here? That's the get belly for this.
They believe.
Somebody will have belly.
We have to wrap up. We've not finished this topic because there are many layers.
It's a journey that will take a long time. My mom today doesn't have those battle anymore, but I know I've been on that case as a teenager till now. So
we have to wrap up. We just wish them the best. Just hope that Nigerians can really understand that cats
love animals.
Please. I saw those cats, and when I saw them black, I said, Even
you knew that.
But they are beautiful. I have a cat.
I would love to have a cat.
You know, but like, hey, this Nigerian men, what they? That's all we can take on this segment. We'll come back and bring in our guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company, not just in Nigeria, but throughout continental Africa, to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Yeah, that's all we can take.
I choose to
Ejeki, close the show. You for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym though, you're getting fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
Thanks for staying with us. So usually on Wednesdays, we like to celebrate women who are doing amazing work. So today our guest is an award-winning international fashion entrepreneur, an emerging thought leader in the African fashion space. She owns a diversified Pan-African fashion and lifestyle brand with several business expressions, both locally and international. Having quit her lucrative job with one of the top banks in Nigeria, Patience has gone on to become an integral part of Vanguard and innovative fashion entrepreneurs who are redefining the fashion landscape and placing Africa on the global map with cutting-edge designs and styles. Welcome with us, Patience Ehi Udoko, to the show. CEO Ehi Group. Good to have you on the show. You look amazing. I love your jacket. Thank you. And that's your design, right?
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
So tell us a bit about your the work you do. How did you discover fashion? Because a lot of people love fashion. They want to get into it. They kind of just start at that level, the grassroots, just trying to make clothes. But they're not ever able to scale to that international, global level. Yeah. So tell us how you started and what led to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. So I started my fashion journey while I was in university, interestingly. So it was me just retailing clothes, and I really just love to style myself. And I remember winning best dressed in my law faculty while I was there. Then I realized I had something for fashion. But then the key part that I like about fashion the most is sourcing for fabrics. So I just love to play with colors, put fabrics together, and I realized that it was a thing for me. And that's how I started. But interestingly, I also had to find a white spot to say, okay, so what exactly can I do differently in this space? And then I started the journey that way. I discovered that in the Nigerian fashion sector, a lot of people are not so professional. They would say, okay, we're delivering in 2 weeks, and it's not the case. Or they say we're doing this design, and then they don't do that. So I had to think of how do I fix that problem? And that's how I started the Fabric Hub in 2016. Interestingly, I didn't have any money. I was working in a bank, earning, I think, 135,000 at the time. But then I had that desire, and I applied for a grant on the UWIN. So that's how I started the Fabric Hub.
Oh, so you win benefactor.
Yes, I am.
You just said that everybody who took you win went to go and
oh no, I did. I actually did. I got a 6.5 million naira grant, and they gave me the first tranche, which was 4 million. We rented the shop, bought machines, bought fabrics, and then we started growing like that.
Have you ever met President Jonathan?
I haven't. I think
it's nice for you to meet him.
They are actually very, very proud of my journey. They are actually proud of my journey. And interestingly, I would say that I've benefited from the government. I would actually say that because apart from UWIN, I also at some point got a support from BOI to get more machines to be able to produce. So yes.
That's a good story.
So let me find out what exactly that hub covers. Is it that people can come in and sew there, or you're just using it to sew your designs, get your fabrics? How does it work?
Also, it's just to sew my design. So I currently run Ehi Woman, which is a ready-to-wear brand, and then also Fabric Hub, which is a fabric retail business and bespoke tailoring business as well. Yes.
So if I want fabric, I just come to you.
Yes, to get your fabric. Yes.
Okay, so when we get to celebrate Women We Love, it's from the perspective of how others can replicate the success that you've had.
Yes.
And I'm happy that you didn't just say, nah, God, or I worked hard, but you highlighted the support you've gotten from the government initiatives that you applied for.
Yes.
What have you seen as an entrepreneur as prevented? Many people don't assume it doesn't work. Did you have, were there connections? What were the things you had to put in place that made you able to apply? Or was it just, I'm confident, they would just say no, last. What was it?
No, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of support as well from my friends. I remember it was a friend who told me about UWIN. But most importantly is first identifying what you want to do and the problem you want to solve, and being willing to put in the work. It took a lot of work, putting numbers together, projecting, creating my business plan. I remember when I was applying for UWIN, I did all of that work. Wow. And it didn't end there. There was also a need to go for some training. And over time, I never went to a fashion school, but I knew that I wanted to solve a problem in that space. So I kept building myself, learning in courses. I got a mentor. I remember that just when I put my resignation letter, I had to go look for a mentor who currently runs one of the biggest fashion brands in Africa, I would say. It's called Vodi. and I interned there for about 3 months.
Amazing.
So there's a need for that internship, there's a need to actually gain the experience, and there's a need to constantly keep building yourself and be willing to put the work. Yes.
I think from my end, I would just like to get a clarification. People still say, oh, these are tailors and these are fashion designers.
Yes.
What's going on? What's the disparity between tailors and fashion designers?
What's the difference? There's a whole lot of difference. So I don't call myself a fashion designer. I call myself a fashion entrepreneur, for instance. And that's because I'm providing fashion solutions. A fashion designer could be in different aspects. Be that you design clothes, you could be that as you design, you also can stitch and sew. But a tailor is someone who is just focused on stitching and sewing, so you know how to handle a machine. So that's totally different. But a designer, there's a whole aspect for you to be a designer, from you being able to illustrate to cut patterns and all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are fashion entrepreneurs. Because we can't do anything. But let me talk about mentorship a bit more. In the world of business, you get to a certain stage and you start understanding that you can't upscale to a certain level if you're not in collaboration or in connection with certain people in that industry.
Yes.
And you know, sometimes people are afraid to go out there and say, I want you to be. It's usually easy when a mentor spots you and say, okay, I'd like to mentor you, right? But you going out to search for a mentor, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to approach them? What sort of value are you supposed to bring to the table to say, I can do this and this for you, I just want you to mentor me? And how willing do you think many of these mentors are in helping other people grow?
Okay, that's a really good question, because I would say that I've benefited from being mentored. So I see that it's important, but a lot of times what I've realized is that people say, I want to be mentored, but they don't want to nurture the relationship. They don't want to add any value. I remember year 2 of my business, it felt like, oh, what was I doing? I didn't understand my numbers. I was making sales, I was growing, but I could not see the cash in the bank. And I remember sending a DM at that time. I had never met Smaya Tafo, and I sent him a DM. And I said, I wanted you to mentor me, guide me. I'm struggling. I don't understand what I'm doing. And he said, okay, I'm going to be in Abuja. I'm based out of Abuja. I'm going to be in Abuja. I want you to work with me that day as my assistant. I was happy, ready early. I was the one taking, when he's measuring, I'm recording everything. And we started from that journey of me just being willing. And we sat down for 2 hours and he asked me one question: how do you price your goods? And that was the beginning of me discovering that I was just dabbling and running a charity business. So mentorship is important, but you also have to see that you nurture the relationship. Yes, and then you reach out. It's either a yes or a no. But most times people are holding back, saying that they might reject me, they might not say yes. But then just ask. Just ask.
I mean, I love love what you just said, because I like how practical it is and people can what people can do. We've had issues with businesses have struggled in Nigeria, from power challenges to staffing challenges. Which of these would say was your most challenging? What was the biggest challenge you faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you solve it, or which one are you still trying to solve?
Okay. It feels like it's almost endless. The challenges, it's almost endless, but then you just have to keep pushing and staying consistent and being resilient. I feel in Nigeria, if you run a business, you just have to be so resilient.
You need blue blood.
Oh God. So one thing that I'm still struggling with will still be staffing, and even around tailors, having them stay. They're looking for the next big thing. They're looking for the next 500 naira that would push them to just say, okay, I'm done, or they don't show up anymore. So it's a struggle. But then interestingly, I'm looking out for how the government would also support us and have clusters where you can literally just go there and produce your outfits. Sort of struggling with tailors every time, especially when you start thinking around exports, which is what we are at this stage. We have outlets around Africa. So we're saying, how can we produce? Let it be in-house, but then we still can't find enough tailors.
I like your story because I really like, and even I like what you're seeing as the next steps, because I see how you've been able to hear about an opportunity, applied for it. You took that first step to learn and knew the way you need mentoring, nurture that relationship. Now you're at the point where you're saying we need a hub where the government can provide something where we have 2,000 tailors, so you can now book your own spot and then have your product. So I see the steps, but in your view as an entrepreneur, what do you think Nigerians can do to tap into this industry? What other areas can young people say, you know what, I don't want to be an entrepreneur, but is there an area, can I do tagging? What area can I tag into to get into the fashion business?
There's a lot in the fashion business that is just being abandoned. I would say one aspect that people can focus on is around quality control. We don't have a system around that. That's one thing we struggle with, and that's why it's a bit of a struggle for us to even play in the global space. Because you produce something, if you are not paying, for me for instance, let's say if you are not there, and how much time can I be there to check 2,000 pieces? So how about we build people who realize that, okay, I want to even be a merchandiser. I'll be the one who would come in and say, when you have this jacket, you should have a pants with it, a skirt with it, and you guide the designer. The designer might just be someone who creates and designs and puts colors together. They don't know that they should think around the woman and say, if a woman is buying a jacket, she needs a camisole. So they just create the jacket and it's there, and someone comes in. So there's a need for that. A lot of people need to see there's so many aspects and value chain in the fashion industry that is being neglected in Nigeria. Everybody wants to be the designer. Everybody wants to be the designer.
So, I mean, we have to wrap up with you, but is there anything you think that we can also learn from you? Is there anything that is left that we can learn from you?
I think she runs Enlighten Her initiative, which says that you put 10% of your proceeds from Ehi Woman, put it into Enlighten Her. How is Enlighten Her doing? What are the specifics of Enlighten Her initiative?
So I created Enlighten Her initiative because I felt like there's a need for young women to be guided, and especially young women from the age of 18 to 25. I feel like that's a period in your life where you need to make serious decisions that would shape your life. And a lot of young women at that time would hold back, and then maybe they're just in school, just in their corner, they don't have someone who's guiding them. And so that's the whole essence of creating Enlighten Her initiative. Guide young women, provide seed funds for them if they need to go to school, start a business, just run in life basically. And we've been doing that for, I would say, 4 years. We've been able to provide a few seed grants from profits that we made from Ehi Woman to women as well. And then it's been interesting.
Great. Thank you so much, Ehi, for coming. We appreciate you. Wishing you the
for
best in your
having me.
business.
Thank you.
Let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejek can close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number one, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Here we go.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have one more guest because, as I said, we'd like to celebrate women on Wednesdays. So we have in the studio an accomplished business leader, a best-selling author and gender finance expert. She serves as the CEO and co-founder of Hervest, into also a global co-chair of the Marketing for Women in Tech Global Movement, and as the country manager for Nigeria. She is the chairman of the technology at the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce, and also a member of the Personal Finance Speakers Association USA and the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK. Welcome with us, Sholakwe Akimpelu. I think they also forgot to mention that you are one of the presidential advisors on gender committee desk at the CBN, right?
That's correct.
On framework for advancing women's financial inclusion, which I think is really crucial. Welcome to the show, Sholakwe.
Thank you so much for having me.
There's
Thank you,
so
ladies.
much you do. Your portfolio is
Yes, this is so humbling. What's going on?
You know, when we
Thank you
hear
so much.
presidential advisory, I'm thinking, what is that?
We just advise.
But let's start with the work you've done so far in helping women, especially young people, for financing and to technology. Tell us a bit about that. How did you get into that space?
Okay, thank you so much for having me, and good morning, everyone. Basically, I think it's out of curiosity and then the desire to change the status quo, because I believe that when women rise, we all rise. So my background was in marketing, and then I was marketing head at an investment firm. And so, of course, you know, you keep seeing the strategy, you see the numbers, you do some research. And it wasn't long before I realized that a lot of women were not participating in financial services as they should. But when we look out, when you still look at the markets, I'm talking about physical markets, you see women laboring under the sun with a child, you know, on their back and all of that. But when it comes to, you know, saving, investing, and making your money work for you, something breaks. And so I realized quickly that it was more of a knowledge gap, a mindset thing, and of course so many reasons, but time poverty, taking time for care work, and so many things. Unlike men, they understand that, you know, you have to make your money work quickly. So whatever they have, they put it in the markets. I'm talking about the figurative markets now, money markets, and then, you know, it does more work for them. And so we decided to make a difference and, you know, getting more involved in conversations and building tools.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So how many women do you think these conversations have helped? You know, looking back at where we're coming from, because it's just a few years now that many people have been talking about financial literacy for women. Many women, like you rightly said, are not even aware that that is even possible. Just do the little business, collect your change, spend it anyhow, and go back looking for capital in the next few months. So how many people in terms of ratio do you think it has helped, and what more do you think we can do to make many women, especially the low income earners, understand that this is actually very important?
Okay, yes, I would say that a lot. Again, we are data challenged, so it's not, you know, we can't really quantify. But from the conversations that we see even on the media, you can tell, you know, that the conversation is getting better and people are becoming more aware. And it starts even marketing. You start with awareness, interest, decision, and then you take actions. So we're seeing more awareness, we're seeing more interest, and then, you know, the actual decisions are being made, and then we hope for that we'll take more actions. But for instance, on our Harvest platform, we have over 70,000 women that are benefiting from, you know, impact investing, taking loans, you know, learning from our Learn portal, which we have on the website, and so many other things. For the low-income women, we realized quickly that, you know, no woman is more woman than another. And so we are keen on taking it to them. And so what we've done is, okay, how can we, because you have to think about tools and then localizing solutions. So, for instance, in our year 3, we had to launch this USSD product. And what it does is that you just dial from anywhere without your internet, with your feature phone, you know, without a smartphone, you dial the code, and then, you know, we localized it in is language based, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. So if you want to learn for whatever you choose, and then because we're focused and we're still big on smallholder women farmers, because the problem is really huge there because of the volatility and so many reasons. So they are more impoverished. So for instance, for financial literacy, you dial a code. If you want to learn more about good agronomic practices for your particular crops, the 3 value chains that we cover, you dial a code. So that's where we are localizing. Where we can, we go physically into those communities, and then with their further questions, they can ask us. So that's how, you know, you build for different layers of women without leaving anyone behind.
I want to go back to whenever we have women that were celebrating on this segment. I like to ask how they started, like what were the challenges they faced, because someone watching is actually probably going through that challenge and is feeling like giving up, and when they see or hear your story, it encourages them to keep at it. So what would you highlight, like top 3 challenges you faced in starting? Yes, you run a financial, we call it financial services, but like really you run a financial, it's a mini bank. You know, and what were the challenges you faced in doing that?
I'm still facing.
And you're still facing. And how have you been managing the situation?
Thank you. I must say, like you said, representation matters, and that's why we try to show up, you know. For the challenges, I'll say the first one is, you know, even making people understand the problem. A lot of people feel like, what is this about? And, you know, you're just making a fuss, right? Did you walk into a bank and nobody answers you? But again, you know, when I need a credit, for instance, you need me to print out my statement. A lot of women are doing informal job. So they do not have financial footprint.
But they actually do have it informally.
Yeah, they do. In the last 2 years, 2023 was a year for me that I had to take, like, you know, it was struggling with business and at the same time taking care of my ailing father, who eventually passed, God rest his soul. 2024, I got pregnant, right? And so those are like, they are care jobs and nurturing things that took me actively away from work and might impact, you know, my finances, for instance. How do you account for this when I want to request for credit, for instance, for my realities as a woman, for doing things that are like my primary biological function? So when we go on, people understanding the problem was even an issue. And that's why we said women must solve for women for some of these things. The second thing was capital, because people do not even understand again, and the check cutters again are men for obvious reasons. So what you cannot even empathize, what you cannot understand, you attack it.
You don't know where the shoe is pinching, so you can't even see the opportunity.
Right? Yeah, so capital is an issue. And for what we do, we need patient capital. Because the women we are funding that need this credit, so we understand them, we understand the challenges and all of that. But we still need that patient capital. You cannot charge at the same interest that, you know, the regular the banks want to charge, for instance. And I'll say the third one is also you know, team technology. We have a mobile application. You need it to constantly get iterated and all of that. So there are more and more and more.
When it comes to being a business person.
Okay, I would just like to touch on your book. You're the author of An African Woman's Guide to Building Generational Wealth. And I think we know in this part that maybe very recently women have started detaching from this joint account thing. Like, let me sit on my own. Your money could be your money, my money could be my money, or if we put it at the center, we have our money. Yes. So how are women really still accepting this? Like, I still have to put a certain percentage for rainy days. I still have to save a certain percentage outside the fact that myself and my husband have to put money together if they run a joint account.
Well, I always say that no relationship is the same. Relationship A is different from relationship B. Yeah. And we should also know man, woman, whatever, matter. You know, matter. They don't. Yeah, they don't. And then we have unique money personalities.
True.
So people say that finance causes issues in marriage. It is because firstly you did not understand your money personality. You have spenders, you have savers, you have hoarders. You know, so most of the time, because again, you know, opposites attract.
Conflict. Okay.
You always have a saver winding attracted to
a spender.
A spender. And
that's
then that's
sweet.
That's why it's sweet. Then you now have a joint account, and one person decides that, you know what, we are going to save the last penny, put off the lights, make sure that the freezer doesn't open, you know, and you know, conserve and save. And the other person is like, you know, I just want to be a baby girl or a baby boy.
I want to travel.
I want to travel. You know, so you should understand that who is the saver here, who is the spender here, and how then do we find a balance? And so those are the things that my book, you know, people say she's writing book for African women wealth, because we have so many peculiarities, we have so many nuances too. There's something I wrote about in the book called Ada. And that is like the firstborn thing. The firstborn girl carries a lot of weight on her shoulders. You know, finance, taking care of younger ones, taking care of elderly parents, taking care of, you know, it just falls on her. And so imagine my married to an Ada.
Oh, you're not marrying her. You're marrying her every sibling. You're marrying every other sibling. And I get that because
we have a very short break. I have to go on a break. When I come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Thanks for staying with us. So there's a part of your CV that says that you're also a member of the Presidential High-Level Advisory Committee to the President. You advise on girls and women's economic empowerment. What does that even mean?
What exactly are you doing there?
These things, and it just looks like nomenclatures for nothing. I'm wondering what exactly does it
mean? So that was put together as having a community of practice for different operators from the private sector, public. So you have women from the pension, banking, from different for women economic empowerment. It's called WE, right? And so we have different COPs from that. Okay. For instance, so my COP is COP 6, for instance. and the function is designing for rural women, right? Because I kind of have strength in that. So what we do is we meet, we discuss these things, we then put it forward.
Hope it is implemented.
Yes.
Who's going to implement it? Not you?
Yeah, no.
They're on the advisory.
Many Nigerians.
It's under the Ministry of Women Affairs.
Okay. Many Nigerians just assume that whenever those committee things come up, that they just and say they are coming to
agree that not
commit.
They
have not committed before.
Yeah. So, are there any achievements that you would want to highlight there? And also with the British Nigeria Chamber of Commerce, what are the benefits of Nigerian
British Chamber of Commerce?
So I did a swap. Thank you for correcting me. What are the benefits of being in this kind of community? How does it support? What's the value of women being in those communities? What does it do to them?
It does, because again, it's our voices in the room and it's our thoughts and actions on the table. And from the things that we've discussed around this table, you agree with me that women need to design for women for implicit reasons, for natural reasons, for growth reasons. And it's not just a gender conversation when we talk about women, but in the economy, it's an economic conversation. It's for all of us. So, a Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce, for instance, as the chairman for Technology Committee, some of the things that we've done, for instance, was having this training, right, which was free on technology across 4 different tracks: digital marketing, software programming, and all of that. And then that way we are reducing unemployment and all of that as a chamber. Again, I think it's more important for women to participate in these conversations because it also stretches us. Right, that's true. The Sholakwe that is, having this conversation is totally different from the Sholakwe of 2019 or so. You have to
be improving yourself.
Yeah,
and that takes me to the question I was going to come to concern, because you say you had a kid last 2023 or 2024.
Yes, she's 4 months old.
She's 4 months. I'm thinking, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, how are you? I hate that question, how are you juggling? But the truth is that
the reality.
People are watching you and they're saying, okay, I also want to be involved in various high-level conversations. I want to be doing things on a global level, and I also want to start a family. So how are you putting that together? Do you have to take your child with you everywhere you go, or do you have a system? Exactly how is it functioning for you?
System, right? System, actually. Having the right support system works. That's my third. And I think so far, I do not see juggle, I do not see work, I do not see life. I see life.
Yeah, that's
right.
Life.
And then work is part of my life. If I wasn't doing this, I would not be. I would not be as satisfied as I am now. I'm happy that I'm a place where I can impact. I'm happy that I'm a place where I'm leading a bright team at Harvest to solve for women. And again, the highlight of my day is when I'm with family and then having conversation with them. How was school today? What happened? What are you cautioning on? Who did this? So you see that it's a symphony, right? Yeah. And then again, having the right. My mother is there. Husband
Support
has a full-time
system.
work. It also helps with things.
Interesting.
So I think also it's just the mind.
Yeah.
So as a young person involved in providing financial inclusion for women, where do you see as the future? What's that big picture you see? Because I see that people are saying, okay, yeah, you're providing money, maybe how much kind of finance can she give us? How can I ask for 1 billion naira, 2 billion naira? What's your desire? What's that future thing you expect for Harvest to do in future where women can say, okay, let me sign up with you and stay with you and believe in what your vision? What's the bigger picture with you?
Yeah, I think the bigger picture is having that financial firm where women say, you know what, they get me. I don't know if you use Flow, the app.
I've heard I use it at the time, yeah.
Please, Go on it.
I should get back on it.
So I'm a PCOS.
It's an app for
monitoring that tracks your cycle and all of that.
Oh, I used to have it sometime ago.
Me too. And it's not free for Nigerians.
The cycle, yeah.
They use my brain.
I used to use it. Yeah, I used to use it.
You know, rely on the brain alone. As women, we create based on our cycle.
Yeah.
We create based on our cycle. There are some days that your hormones, you're off, so it helps you. So again, when I look at it, I'm like, this is what Harvest is going to be for African women. A financial brand that gets them. And so we are building, for that level using technology.
I really love the example you gave about how many financial institutions, because they are not in the shoes, they can't relate with the seasons women go through, and the example of flow. But I want to ask you something, because we talk to majority of our women are very enterprising. We have women who are Nigerian women 100%. Are naturally enterprising. True. But we find ourselves more, the majority of them find themselves in the small and medium scale businesses, actually in micro businesses. You dared. You are talking to regulators. You are making decisions with decision makers. Financial sector is a very regulated industry. You have courage. That one is fact. But how would women at home now start daring to dream of businesses where they are talking to CBN and they are having meetings with, like, you're having that kind of high level conversations, you're talking to the president of this country because I want to come and do this kind of business in your country. How do you become that kind of woman, and how do you encourage Nigerian women to take that step out of selling behind their car into that level?
I'm mixing soap.
I'm mixing soap. You killed that one. She started.
Thank you, because I totally get it. I'm like, okay, you are getting into my zone now. And I tell them, and see, there's nothing less dignifying about saying, you know what I want to do is soap. It's fine. It's a cleaning agent, and you're being. But again, have you thought about packaging this your soup and having it in Asda and having it in?
Oh, so now they go there already.
Thank you. We're cut together. So I think firstly we talk about dream, but it's powerful. And maybe because I'm a creative person, I didn't even grow up in. I grew up in the countryside. I grew up in Ijebu. My educations were, but I'd always, the way I came in and I zoned out. That's always been me. I'm somewhere else. I'm thinking, and you keep making it happen. How do you make it happen? I think that is where knowledge, I keep saying, you cannot overrate the place of learning. Learn, expand your mind, reinvent yourself so quickly. We have the ability. We are women. One of the natural things we do is multitasking, right? So, but again, realize that people want to multitask at. And I'm not saying this is generic. At least we are having this productive conversation. It's not generic, but you realize that some women, they are just limited to cho like we talk it, like we say, So what you are doing is reinventing yourself.
Okay, talking.
This more matter, and your mind invest your time. So, but again, what are you doing? How are you learning? What are you putting your mind at, and then going for it? The first time you fail, not necessarily. You might fail. You
might just succeed.
You might just succeed as well, and you never know. We have failed several times. I have failed several times. I am still failing at so many things. I cried. I take those pictures after crying, put it on my phone to remind myself that there was this day I cried. It was a really bad day. It still happens so many days. Some of those days will happen without even realizing you have tears on your face because of the disappointment, because of the no's, because of the failures. But again, you show up.
But do you think your background has anything to play or a major role? Because now that you mentioned, I grew up in the countryside, Ijebu. In my mind, I say, Abajo, because we know that Ijebus are known as industrialists. They are money-driven, and does your background...
What are they feeling like?
No, we know. Of course, Lagos too are quite enterprising. They are entrepreneurs. So does this background have any linking to who we turn out to be and how we turn out to be it?
Well, to be fair, I would say that I believe that women had spoken about the biological function, but to be sentimental too, I think it played a role. Because when I reflected, I get asked this question. Firstly, my parents were there, but I saw my mother heavy lifting. Like to this morning, she dropped a voice note. We are doing some training. Like this is a 69-year-old woman. And then she was on the queue. She was showing me the queue. I was, but again, that is who she had always been.
Let me add, what's your star sign?
Let's
answer her. Just say it doesn't matter. Please.
But again, you know, I recall that I will see stores and they will say Omoni Mama trading stores. So. And when you go in there, you see women at Baker stores, at Duke stores, and you see women. So when I now saw women saying, oh, my husband is coming, my husband will do it.
You didn't grow up with that. You didn't see that. I didn't see it either.
So you have that background, but we have to wrap up. I think that's quite interesting. It's good to hear your story.
Thank you.
To learn from you and see that it can be done. And I think it's important for us to also see how you've pioneered some of these things, some of these businesses to help women specifically, to give them that kind of confidence in the businesses they're doing, and how you have also employed technology to help women. We're wishing you the best and hope that if you need our support in any way, let us know. What kind of support do you need?
For instance, in May we're having an event. It's called Value Up.
It's okay.
Well, let's Value Up. So we are asking that you support us.
Okay.
You know,
Value. Is it like a conference or something?
Yes, a conference.
Okay.
This will be the third one.
Oh, nice.
Right. Because they say that it's a value thing. If you're able to exchange, people are sitting in Lagos and then earning $3,000, $4,000 for instance.
Just based on value.
Just based on value, right? Wow. You know, in technology, non-tech related things. Okay. So I believe that if you can, you know, package that value system for women, you know, a lot of women can fly.
Okay, let us know so we can see where we can support you.
Thank you.
That is all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Take care of your cats, please.
Don't be hostile.